Back in the 90s, the fantasy genre was seeing a bit of a comeback. You see, in the 80s, Arnold Schwarzenegger rejuvenated the genre with movies like Conan and Red Sonja. In fact, there are so many other great fantasy movies that it's hard to mention them all. After a brief lull, Xena Warrior Princess made its way onto television screens across the West, and Hercules also popped his head up once more. Whilst it never reached the heights of the 80s, there was enough of a fanbase of the Xena world for Titus to pick up the rights to make games based on the franchise. Developed by Saffire, who you may remember from Biofreaks, Xena Warrior Princess The Talisman of Fate is a 3D arena style beat 'em up which in a way can be considered a sequel to the often overlooked Biofreaks. You have 11 characters to choose from, and fans of the show will be pleased to see the familiar faces pop up, such as Caesar and Joxer, and they're all equipped with their own combos and weapon moves. Surprisingly for a video game of the time, there are also quite a lot of female characters to choose from, which makes a nice change. That is if you can get over the sometimes annoying squealing sound that they constantly seem to make. Well, let's not beat around the bush here. The N64 is known for having a very slim pickings when it comes to quality fighting games. Sure, we had the sublime Smash Brothers and one or two other hits, but as for a whole, there are very few fighting games really worth playing on the console. Xena Warrior Princess feels incredibly shallow when compared to other more depth titles like Killer Instinct and Mortal Kombat 4. Whilst the animation is fluid and the frame rate never seems to dip, the amount of moves for each character is very underwhelming, and after a short blast with each one, you'll have pulled off all of the moves on offer. Consider the fact that the A and B buttons are not even used, and you can begin to imagine the extremely limited amount of combos and combat that's on offer. This does however make the game incredibly easy to pick up and play when you have friends over, as they won't have to spend hours memorising the move lists. This is also very handy as the game has a brilliant 4-player mode, where you all fight in the same arena simultaneously, which results in some frantic button mashing action and some opportunities to double up on your opponent or turn 3v1 against them. You can quickly select which opponent you want to lock onto with the A button, so switching between opponents in this mode is quick and easy to do, and it saves any confusing moments. It's not deep enough to dethrone Smash Brothers as the best 4-player fighter on the system, but it offers an alternative experience which you may want to check out. My highlight for the game was the beautiful graphics. It was one of the first things I noticed about the game, and it doesn't disappoint. The environments and arenas, which total 11 in number, are all varied and incredibly detailed. It helps to draw you into the game, and the texture quality is sharp and clear, and it avoids the classic N64 blurriness you find in some other games. The lighting is also brilliant, and it makes the world feel alive and not static or flat. Now, if I remember correctly, the NTSC box shows expansion pack support, but the PAL box never did, so if anyone wants to help out and clear up as to why, then let me know. The audio is actually a welcome surprise too. The characters are fully voiced, and even though it sounds like it's gone through some heavy compression, it does draw you into the battles which you will enter. The big disappointment, however, is that despite having the show's license, none of the voice acting comes from the cast, and so all of the catchphrases and quality you'd have perhaps expected are non-existent. The music fits the game well. It's nothing special, but there are some nice touches dropped in. For example, when playing as Caesar, the crowd will cheer his name, and also then go on to boo if he loses. The game also lacks any music from the TV show, but what it does do a good job of, and in my opinion it neither adds or detracts from the overall experience. All in all, Xena Warrior Princess The Talisman of Fate is a pretty solid fighting game. The large roster of fighters and arenas and the pretty good 4-player mode does mean that this is a game you would likely revisit with friends, but the limited single player options means that after you've completed the game and seen each of the characters' end stories, then there really isn't much depth to keep you coming back to master. It would have been worth a rental back in the day, but now for the low price it sells for online, it makes it worthwhile picking up. Just don't be expecting the next Killer Instinct to hog your console. But what's most important is, how do you remember this game? Do you have memories of playing it with friends, or did you blast through the quest mode to see all of the story moments? Let me know along with who your favourite character in the game is below, and as always, thanks for watching, and until next time.